Come up here for hours, me and him. Not so much now because he's a bit of an old bugger. We used to come up for the views, walk for miles and look for miles, but not so much today. It's a bit foggy over yonder, which brings me to today's topic: diabetic retinopathy and the symptoms. I mean, if you had my symptoms, you'd have been straight to eye doctor, you'd have been straight there, you'd have been straight to Specsavers, you'd have been anywhere. You know what my symptoms were? Nothing. Nout. Nothing at all. But yet 7 years ago I was told I had diabetic retinopathy. Didn't get told about any stages. Well, I didn't hear about any stages, I just heard retinopathy. Thought I was going blind instant. I'm like shit. Because when I was diagnosed with diabetes, like when I was 16, all them stuff that the doctor said you couldn't do, you can't do this, you can't do that. Obviously, not gonna lie, I'll be honest, I was probably shit faced in a bush every overnight. I was probably having a bit of smoke, you know, it's already had. But eating all and everything when I had munchies, you know, as you do, because that's great for a diabetic to eat all and everything all day. But the one thing I kept up to is my eye screening appointment, because the one thing I did hear in all that jargon that doctor used to say was you might lose your eyesight. So I kept going to start with. Then I'm like, every time I went, your eyes are perfect. I don't know. Specsavers trying to say your eyes are perfect. I don't know. Eventually you get bored and you think there's nothing wrong with them. Fine. So I kept missing here and there. Then missed some more, till eventually, oh dear. And by the way, if you're new to being diabetic, if you're young, old, whatever, you're not into eye place, now, book yourself in. You don't need to shit yourself when you walk in. You don't need to shit your knickers. You don't need to piss your wife nuts, right? There's all and everyone in there. There might be some eyeballs hanging out. There might be some people with patches. They might have had cataracts and all that stuff. It's not necessarily just a diabetic eye clinic. There's all sorts going on. So don't shit yourself. Just book it. They'll make you cover your hand, the eye and all that crap like they normally do. Put some drops in, take a picture. Bob's your uncle or your auntie. But then when you've missed a few, like me, right, so don't miss them, you'll get told I've got diabetic retinopathy. So then they sent me somewhere else, I mean, in-depth checking. So I went to Pinderfields, Wakefield, and you couldn't see properly because these blood vessels are tiny that's in your eyes, and you couldn't tell whether they were bleeding. So he has to inject me with this yellow stuff into my veins. So yes, I did look like Homer Simpson. They had a crash test people, crash desk or whatever it is, on standby, because this stuff that they're injecting you with quite nasty. I don't know what it is because I'm not a doctor. Tell you, get prepared, it'll make you a bit sick instant. Injects it in, they're all sat there with a little sick buckets ready for me. I'm alright, it does. And then I go yellow, then they bring me in, start looking in my eyes. Tells me, yeah, you've got no bleeds yet. So he says, I'm up, I'm ready for going. Then he says, wait a minute. Your eyes are like a ticking time bomb. You might only get to end at car park and they might start bleeding. And if they start bleeding, depending on where they bleed, you won't be able to see and I won't be able to save your eyes. Which bed do I lay in, doctor? Where do you want me? And you see, when they do this laser treatment, I'm not going to lie, it's not right cracky. They sit in this chair, they try and clamp your eyes open best they can. They tell you not to blink, not to look up, not to do this, not to move, and then they start firing. This when you can imagine, it's a laser, so it's really bright. So as they're like that, everything's covered up. When they fire it, it'll keep telling you now, 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 now. And it's firing all the way around your eye, peripheral vision sort of thing, right? So each time he fires it, because it's that bright, it then goes black. So you think you've blinked, and you haven't. And then he's going to tell you, now. So he's going to fire it, and you're like, no, it's going to burn my eyeball, no. It does scare you. The only advice I can give, because 7 years after, my eyesight, my eyes' health has improved. all because I started introducing a bit more fruit, a bit more veg. And I'm not telling you to chew on bananas all day, I'm not a doctor, come on. Enjoy your food as a diabetic, but also just introduce a bit of fruit and veg, a bit more, a bit of exercise. And one thing I did do, you're going to tell me to bore off, is I stopped smoking. So I haven't been smoking for about 4-5 years now. It took a bit, don't get me wrong, but I did it. Just think on, won't you?